Hey, good afternoon. It's Ryan with QLZ, and we're talking with Tim, one of the guitarists from Adema. And Tim, you are in a field somewhere in my home state of Ohio. I love it.
That's right. Yeah, it's awesome. Good to see you, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
You too. Now, you guys are a band I've listened to since I was a teenager. I tell bands this, never to make them feel old, but just to be like, you guys are one of those bands that I grew up with as in my impressionable years and my teenage years of you guys and like Seven Dust and Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and that great moments and new metal, man, because you guys are out on the road. The new metal madness tour 2. I knew
Yes.
it was going to be a mouthful to get out, but I wanted to make sure I get it right. So, man, you guys are out with Tantric, with Crazy Town, with Head PE. So how have these shows been? I know some of them have been sold out.
They have been. Yeah, they've been great. Every show's been really, really good. And, we started this last year. The only difference was, Flaw was there instead of Tantric, but it just seems to be building and building, and the word's gotten out, and the shows have just been really great, and the response has been great. And like you said, it's kind of like, you're saying that you listened to us as a teenager. A lot of the fans are like that, and so it's good to see those people come out, and that's why we do it, and every night we like to go out and be with the fans and meet the fans and take pictures. It's been a really great experience, and Head PE always puts on a great tour, and everybody's been doing great and putting on good shows, so it's been really fun.
What's it been like to kind of have this lasting power of 20 some years? I think debut album for you guys I think was 03, which
I think it was probably 01.
Or 01, okay.
Yeah.
You guys have still have the staying power, like you said. The shows have been good, people have been coming out to them, and again some sellouts. So kind of how has it been like to see this, for 20 some years you guys still have this impact on people?
It's a blessing beyond a blessing. You're just lucky enough just to get a chance, you know what I mean, back in 20 years ago, and so to still have that ability to go out and play, and people show up and people care and they know the songs and sing all the songs. I mean, it's pretty humbling, that's for sure. You just sit there and when you first start out, you're just hoping for something like that can happen. And you see kind of like the natural, we're all music fans too. It's the same kind of thing. You have those, and that's why I got into music, because you have all those bands that affected you in an amazing way. And especially when you're a teenager, or younger, and they just stay with you for your whole life. And just being a small part of that is kind of the best part of it. You know what I mean? For sure.
Mm-hmm. Now I've been in Springfield about 2.5 months. I just got here February-ish, and you guys are gonna be playing the Blue Grouch this Friday, the 28th. Again, you guys, Crazy Town, Tantric, Head PE. Have you guys played in Springfield lately? Or
it's funny, we have never played in Springfield,
really?
and which is crazy because I grew up an hour from Springfield, so
okay.
I grew up in Mount Sterling, Illinois, and so just kind of in between Springfield and Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always find it weird that we had never, after all these years, had played there. The rest of the band is from Bakersfield. I moved there in like the mid '90s, okay. But every person in my family still lives in the Mount Sterling, Brown County area, and so as a kid, we go to Springfield all the time to see shows and to do stuff, and have a big city around. That was our big city, Springfield. So I'm excited to be playing in Springfield. I got a lot of friends coming, a lot of family coming, so it's really exciting for me.
It's cool. It's kind of like a hometown show for you. And again, it's Blue Grouch this Friday. Tickets still available. Just hit up the Blue Grouch on Facebook, their website, get tickets. Now, there's something that you guys are doing. There's some new music, and I chatted with you a little bit about this before we got rolling. Cerberus is a new EP that's out. It's a couple songs that are on streaming services, but there's one that you guys just haven't. And as a guy who still loves buying physical CDs, I love that, because the only way you can hear this new song is by either probably seeing you guys live or buying, actual physical copies. So make sure you get on the show on Friday as well.
Right. Yeah. We try to do something different every tour, when it comes to that. And so we were lucky enough this time to be able to get some new music out there that we haven't really, the other 2 songs we made a video for. This one, we haven't really promoted it at all. We just were like, this would be cool to just have the people who buy tickets and show up to the shows, just give them something special. And then we have another CD too that we kind of sell, that's kind of a us live and all the stuff we play. And so, for the live show. So it's really cool to have those to have a couple of physical CDs, like you said, and to have those. And it's exciting to kind of see, what people's reaction will be to the new song. That the first 2 singles that we put out over the last few months have done really well. And so, we've just been excited about, just keep on trucking and making new music and getting new stuff to people that want to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it sounds like you guys, I mean, Ryan's voice fits very, I mean, great name, by the way, for your lead singer, Ryan, very, very good first name, but
yes, exactly. I can tell you like it.
and his voice fits in really well between, the singing and some of the screaming that's in there. To me, it sounds to me like, you guys from the 2000s.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about Ryan. And you may know, Ryan was in the band Orgy. And so, and we've known Ryan, Ryan was kind of like, Ryan's story is kind of, so my bass player, Ryan, and John Davis from Korn were in their first band together in Bakersfield, right? And so they've known each other for over 30 years, and so when our original lead singer just decided he, in essence, retired, he didn't want to do it anymore, I was like, like, if we're going to keep doing the band, I want to bring somebody in that people in our world, our genre, our fans know who it is, who is right for us. And what Ryan brings to the table too is it's kind of cool to have a guy come in who was a fan of our band, is a fan of our band before he was in the band. And he was like, if we're going to do new music, I want to modernize and capture what you guys did at the beginning. We kind of went off on, I wouldn't call them tangents, but we kind of weren't always sounding like that, those original records that people loved, and then so to have him come in and go, oh yeah, that's, I'll play a riff, or Mike would play, and he'd be like, yeah, that's an Adema song, what I mean? And that was awesome to have, and to have that mentality, like, hey, we've always been a band that wants to give our fans what they want, what I mean? And we appreciate our fans more than anyone, so that's kind of like, that's been the whole philosophy of any of this new music.
And the thing with you guys too, like 80% of the band, it's you guys that started out in the late 90s, early 2000s. So what can you say about, that's the core of the band is still there 20 some years later.
And that's probably why it sounds like Adema, the new stuff, because, it's been amazing. And a lot of bands can't say that, so we just feel blessed that all of us are still able to do this and to be together and to still have that, like that spark we had 20 years ago. What I mean? I remember we were a lot younger back then, but I can remember hearing our music and playing air drums to it, thinking it was the most awesome stuff ever, and I'm kind of doing that again now with the new stuff, so it's been awesome to have all those guys, and we just have a lot of fun on the road, and and after so many years you get to know each other and be around each other, and just it's a blessing to be around the people that you've lived and experienced this whole ride with.
Yeah, it's been great because, like, you guys, I said I've listened to you guys since I was a teen. Remember, Giving In coming out. Remember, you guys had a song with Mortal Kombat, and it was like, oh my god, it was when video games actually featured rock bands back in the day, and it was awesome.
It was pretty awesome. And then you talk about that. That's the song called Immortal. It's funny. I have a son. I have a son and a daughter. They both play video games, and so they kind of accidentally came along that video game.
Okay.
And it's an older game, but it's still kind of popular game. It's a popular version of that game, and it's funny when your kids come in and go, "I didn't know you were on this thing." Yeah, I am. Your dad's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a game that my parents saw us play a little bit as kids, and they're like, "I don't think you're old enough."
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's cool, man. I'm glad you want to chat about that kind of stuff and everything. Again, we need to get more rock bands back in video games.
I agree.
You mentioned you guys got some more music coming up on the way. I know you guys, again, if you get to the shows, you guys have the 3-song EP physically. But what do you guys want to do kind of the rest of the year when it comes to music? Do you guys want to get another full-length record out there?
So no, that's been the thing. We have a lot of songs that are almost done and we're just finishing up the recording process and then going to release a full length album. Yeah. And so there's, I don't really know the exact timeline on that, but it's, we're talking a few months away, but it's just about getting it all together and just, making sure it all fits together. And the songs we've been doing are definitely along the lines of what we've released. And we're definitely excited about it. We're excited to release a full length record and just and keep going out on the road and seeing people and playing for people.
Yeah, and you mentioned full length records. I mean, luckily I still have a CD player in my car, which is great because
nice.
As much as being on the radio, and obviously, everything we play is digital on the radio. Nobody uses anything physical anymore, and they haven't for years. I still love buying albums. And Tim, it's a question that I used to do this as a blog post in my last gig when I lived in Wisconsin, but I've now adopted it for here and putting everybody on the spot with it, asking bands their favorite complete albums of all time. They're albums that you start from finish. You don't skip one song on. So for you, what are some of those records that you're like, hey, I'm turning this album on and I'm just going to listen to it and I'm not going to skip one damn song?
Oh, I do. I have a ton of those. Just about every Pantera record.
Okay.
And then I loved the Metallica. In the I was a thrash metal guy in the '80s, so of course I loved Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, and Justice for all those records from Metallica. You could just wear them out, and then the Pantera records, and then Vulgar was that one of those first records I can remember going, okay, wow, this is different than everybody else, and then from Pantera, and then I love Megadeth too. Like Rust in Peace was a record that that I was just wear out. I still wear it out. And then of course Guns N' Roses. I mean, who doesn't love Appetite for Destruction? But I also love the Use Your Illusions. I wear those out too. You know what I mean? So those records I just grew up with and loved, and and you had guilty pleasures too. That like being a thrash metal guy back in the day, you couldn't say you liked Poison, but I mean, we all like Poison. So stuff like that, what I mean? So but there's other be like Depeche Mode records that I'm getting to, and I was living in Southern California at a time when I was a kid, and so the Cult was really big then, before they kind of blew up in the late '80s, early '90s, and then The Cure, just all kinds of stuff. But mostly, like I said, I was like a thrash metal guy, I'm just a jean jacket wearing, skull ring wearing guy.
Yeah. I love it. It's been a fun question to ask because I'm interviewing some bands that, people are my age and you're getting more of the 2000s and other stuff. Had, John Connolly of Seven Dust did this in my last job. And, obviously he had Master of Puppets on there, but you talk about, those guilty pleasures. I mean, he had Jagged Little Pill from Alanis Morissette on.
Oh, yeah. You can't go wrong with those things. Yeah. Like I said, you couldn't admit it really back then,
Yeah.
You would go into my room and it'd just be full of posters and like Nuclear Assault, and Slayer. And of course, Slayer is another band I forgot about, but that's another one that just I wore out, But yeah, but I had my White Lion tape over there in the corner.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Nothing at all.
No, I love it. So again, man, you guys, Tantric, Head PE, Crazy Town, you guys are gonna be at the Blue Grouch here in Springfield on Friday. Again, if you're looking for tickets for that show, hit up the Blue Grouch on Facebook, their website, everything else. Tim, dude, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Again, you guys are an off day. You're at a field in Ohio, man. I appreciate you taking the time and chatting.
Thank you, Ryan. It's all the pleasure's mine, man. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see everybody in Springfield, man. I can't wait.